My fiancée said she had a special night planned, then over dessert, she took my hand and said, "There's someone I want you to meet." A man sat down beside her and grinned. "I'm her other boyfriend." I chuckled, stood up, and walked to the bar, where my side date smiled and said, "Took you long enough." My fiancée screamed, "Who is SHE?" I laughed. "We're just keeping it open, right?" I never thought a dinner could change my life so drastically. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how one evening unraveled everything I believed about love, trust, and commitment. Sarah and I had been together for 4 years. We met during a mutual friend's housewarming party in Lincoln Park. She was charming, with a wit that kept me on my toes, and a smile that could light up the darkest room. Our relationship had its ups and downs, like any other, but I genuinely believed we were solid. We had recently gotten engaged, and I was looking forward to spending the rest of my life with her. A few weeks ago, Sarah told me she had planned a special evening for us. She was secretive about the details but assured me it would be a night to remember. I was touched by her effort and eagerly anticipated the date. She asked me to dress formally, hinting that the venue was upscale. On the evening of our date, I arrived at her apartment in Lakeview to pick her up. She looked stunning in an emerald green dress that complemented her auburn hair perfectly. Her makeup was subtle, highlighting her natural beauty. She greeted me with a kiss and a radiant smile, her eyes sparkling with excitement. We took a cab to the venue. As we weaved through the bustling streets of Chicago, I couldn't help but feel a surge of affection for Sarah. She had always been thoughtful, and this surprise evening was just another testament to her caring nature. The cab pulled up in front of the John Hancock Center, one of Chicago's iconic skyscrapers. I was pleasantly surprised. The building, located at 875 North Michigan Avenue, was renowned for its breathtaking views of the city and Lake Michigan. Sarah led me to the elevators, and we ascended to the 95th floor, home to the Signature Room, a restaurant known for its panoramic vistas and elegant ambience. The maitre d' greeted us warmly, and led us to a table by the window. The view was mesmerizing. The city lights twinkled below, and the vast expanse of Lake Michigan stretched out into the horizon. Soft jazz played in the background, adding to the romantic atmosphere. Throughout dinner, Sarah seemed a bit on edge. She kept glancing around the room, her fingers fidgeting with the stem of her wine glass. I noticed but chose not to comment, thinking she might be nervous about the surprise she had planned. We enjoyed a sumptuous meal, indulging in dishes like seared scallops and filet mignon. The conversation flowed, but there was an undercurrent of tension I couldn't quite place. As dessert arrived, a decadent chocolate soufflé, Sarah reached across the table and took my hand. Her grip was firm, and her eyes bore into mine with an intensity that made me uneasy. "Daniel," she began, her voice wavering slightly, "there's someone I want you to meet." Before I could respond, a man approached our table. He was tall and well-dressed, with dark hair slicked back and a confident demeanor that immediately set me on edge. He pulled up the chair beside Sarah and sat down, a smug grin on his face. "Daniel," Sarah continued, her voice barely above a whisper, "this is Mark. He's my other boyfriend." Time seemed to stand still. I stared at Sarah, then at Mark, trying to process the bombshell she had just dropped. The ambient noise of the restaurant faded into a dull hum as my mind raced. Mark extended his hand toward me, that infuriating grin never leaving his face. "Nice to finally meet you, Daniel." I didn't take his hand. Instead, I stood up abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor with a loud screech that drew the attention of nearby diners. Without a word, I turned and walked toward the bar, my heart pounding in my chest. As I approached the bar, I noticed a woman sitting alone, sipping a glass of red wine. She had striking features, piercing blue eyes and raven black hair styled in loose waves. She looked up as I neared, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Took you long enough," she said, her voice smooth and sultry. I was taken aback. "Excuse me?" She gestured to the empty seat beside her. "I've been waiting for you." Confused and intrigued, I sat down. Do I know you? She chuckled softly. Not yet. I'm Olivia. And I believe we have something in common. Before I could inquire further, a shrill voice interrupted us. Who is she? I turned to see Sarah storming toward us, her face contorted with rage. Mark trailed behind her, looking more amused than concerned. I couldn't help but laugh, the irony of the situation not lost on me. We're just keeping it open, right? Sarah's eyes widened in shock. This isn't funny, Daniel. I leaned back in my chair, feeling a strange sense of liberation. Isn't it? You introduced me to your other boyfriend over dessert, and now you're upset because I'm talking to another woman? Olivia placed a hand on my arm, drawing Sarah's attention. Relax, sweetheart. Daniel and I were just getting acquainted. Sarah's face turned a deeper shade of red. Stay out of this. Mark stepped forward, placing a hand gently on Sarah's shoulder like he was trying to calm her, but it looked more like control than comfort. Maybe we should all just sit down and talk like adults, he said with that smug grin still glued to his face. I looked at him and shook my head. No. There's nothing to talk about. Sarah turned her rage toward me again. You brought her here to make a scene? I scoffed. Are you serious right now? You blindsided me with another man during dessert, and now you're accusing me of making a scene? I was honest, Daniel, she snapped. I didn't sneak around. Olivia leaned in a little, still calm, still composed. Didn't you, though? Sarah's eyes shot daggers. You don't know anything about us. I know enough. Olivia replied, casually sipping her wine. I know Mark here wasn't just dating you either. Mark's smugness flickered for a split second. His hand slowly dropped from Sarah's shoulder. Sarah blinked. What? Yeah, Olivia said, setting her glass down with a quiet clink. He was seeing my roommate. Up until last month. Then he ghosted her. Same moves. Same smile. Same lies. Mark chuckled nervously and took a step back. That's not, save it. Olivia cut in. She's got screenshots. Sarah turned to Mark, stunned. Is that true? Mark raised his hands. I mean, it wasn't serious. We were just hanging out. Unbelievable. Sarah whispered. So you were lying too? Now it was my turn to laugh again, but it wasn't joyful. It was hollow. So, this special night turned into an open relationship convention, huh? Sarah looked lost. Not angry anymore, just hurt and confused. I thought you'd understand. I didn't want to keep hiding it. I thought if I was honest, I'd what? I interrupted. Smile, shake his hand, and say good for you, babe. You humiliated me in front of strangers. You made a show of it. You were getting distant. She snapped, voice breaking. You were working late, not texting as much. I thought maybe you were already seeing someone. I stared at her. So instead of asking me, you jumped to conclusions and decided to line up a replacement? It wasn't like that. But it was. She didn't answer. She just stood there, stunned, mouth slightly open, eyes blinking fast like she was trying not to cry. Mark awkwardly took a step away and mumbled something about giving us space. He disappeared into the crowd of confused diners, probably looking for another woman to charm. And Olivia, still sitting beside me, just raised an eyebrow. Want me to go? I shook my head. No. Stay. Sarah looked between the two of us, completely shattered now. So what? You were cheating on me? No, I said flat and calm. But now I'm wondering why I didn't. She stepped back like I slapped her. I loved you, Daniel. Then you should have acted like it. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Tears started to fall now. Not loud sobs. Just silent tears. The kind that meant she finally realized the consequences of everything. I didn't say anything else. I couldn't. I was too angry. Too tired. And honestly, too done. But just as I turned to ask the bartender for the check, Olivia's phone buzzed on the bar. She glanced down, frowned, then picked it up and stood quickly. What is it? I asked. She held up a hand, face pale now. I need a second. Then she stepped away fast, like something serious had just happened. I watched her weave through the tables, out the side door of the restaurant. Sarah saw it too. Wow. Guess she has secrets too. I ignored her. But my heart started pounding again. I didn't want more drama, but something about Olivia's face before she left, it wasn't just surprise. It was fear. And as I sat there trying to process all of it, Sarah's betrayal, Mark's lies, Olivia's sudden exit, I started to wonder. What the hell else don't I know? You want me to keep going? Because from here, it gets even messier. I sat there, staring at the half-melted chocolate soufflé on the table, the wine untouched, my hands clenched around the bar edge. Sarah had slinked back to the table and sat down again, silent now, her makeup starting to smudge under her eyes. She looked small, like someone who just realized they bet everything and lost. But Olivia had vanished. I waited 10 minutes. Then 15. No sign. I finally got up and walked to the side door she'd disappeared through. It opened to a hallway near the restrooms and a service elevator. I looked around. Nothing. I called her phone. Straight to voicemail. Weird. I texted, "Everything okay? Where did you go?" No response. I returned to the table. Sarah was gone too now. Just 2 empty dessert plates and that stiff, strange silence. Like the air itself knew something was off. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Careful who you trust. Olivia isn't who she says she is. I stared at the screen, blood running cold. Another message came in seconds later. Meet me in the parking garage. Level 3. I didn't move at first. It felt like a prank. Or worse, some weird setup. But curiosity? That's a beast. It drags you places your instincts tell you not to go. I headed to the elevator, rode it down to level 3, and stepped into the dimly lit garage. It was quiet. Too quiet. My footsteps echoed on the concrete. Then a car door slammed. I turned fast. Sarah. Standing there next to a gray sedan, arms crossed, face hard again. I sent the message, she said. I blinked. What the hell is going on? You need to know who she is, Daniel. Olivia isn't some random stranger. Yeah, you made that clear. She dated your boyfriend too. She shook her head. No. Olivia knew this was going to happen. She knew about dinner. The reveal. Everything. You're not making sense. She's my sister. Silence. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. It didn't come. Half-sister, she clarified. Same dad. Different moms. Grew up separate. We didn't meet until we were adults. We never really got along. I stepped back. You expect me to believe that you and Olivia cooked this whole thing up? No, she said fast. I didn't know she'd be here tonight. But she did. She's been tracking me. Spying on me. Why? Because she thinks I stole something from her. What? Sarah looked away. You. That made me laugh out loud. You're kidding. She didn't even know me. She followed me to a work party last year. That's when she saw us together. I didn't even know she was there. She found your name, your socials. She's been watching ever since. Why? Because she's not over someone else. Some ex of hers cheated. Left her broken. She thinks everyone's playing games, so she plays them first. She's been doing this to people. Inserting herself into situations. Stirring things up. She's obsessed with control. The words hit like ice water. I thought back to her at the bar. The way she knew my name. The way she said, I believe we have something in common. I thought she meant Sarah. But what if it wasn't just about Sarah? What did she want from me? I asked. Sarah shrugged. To get back at me? Or maybe just to see if she could make you pick her. This is insane. I know. But if this is true, why warn me now? Sarah stepped closer. Because for all the mistakes I've made, I didn't want to see you dragged down with her. You didn't deserve what I did. And you definitely don't deserve her. My phone buzzed again. From Olivia. I'm sorry. I didn't want it to go like this. Please meet me. You deserve to know the truth. I stared at it, frozen. Sarah saw it. She's got her claws in deep already. I looked at her. You don't get to talk about claws. You started this. I did, she said. But she's about to finish it. I didn't respond. I just walked past her, up the garage ramp, back into the cold night air. My head spinning, heart pounding. So now what? My fiancée had another boyfriend. That boyfriend cheated on both of them. Her half-sister inserted herself into the middle of all this chaos, apparently on purpose, and now I was standing alone in downtown Chicago, wondering if I was some sick experiment in revenge. And somehow, I still wasn't sure who I could trust less. I walked. For a long time. No cab, no phone, just me and the cold Chicago wind ripping through my suit. It felt cleaner that way. Let the cold burn off the confusion. Let the sidewalks hold me steady. I didn't know if I was heading toward Olivia or away from her. I didn't even know which answer I wanted. Eventually, I found myself in front of a small 24-hour diner on Clark Street. Old neon sign. Greasy windows. The kind of place where nobody asks questions. I walked in, slid into a booth, and stared at the cracked menu without reading it. 10 minutes later, Olivia walked in. She looked different now. Hair tied back. No trace of the confident smirk she wore at the bar. Just tired eyes, puffy like she'd been crying. She sat down slowly across from me. Neither of us spoke. Then, finally, she broke the silence. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I stayed quiet. I saw you with her once, she continued, fingers curling around the mug of water the server had just dropped off. It was at a networking event. You held her coat while she tried appetizers. You laughed when she spilled wine on your shirt. You didn't even look mad. I remember thinking, I wish someone looked at me like that. You could have just said hi. She winced. I wasn't ready. And honestly, I was jealous. Of her. Of what she had. Of you? I stared at her. So you followed us? She nodded. And then what? You show up at the same restaurant, flirt with me at the bar, make her jealous, and what? Wait for things to blow up. Tears welled up in her eyes again. No. I mean, yes, at first. I thought it'd just be petty revenge. But then, I talked to you, and it got complicated. Complicated? I snapped. You inserted yourself into a mess already set to explode. And you knew. You knew everything. I didn't expect to like you, she said, voice cracking. But I did. At that exact moment, the door swung open. Sarah walked in. Her hair was damp, eyes red, coat buttoned wrong. She saw us, paused, then marched over and dropped a thick manila envelope on the table. Here, she said, voice eyes. Everything you need to know. Every message Olivia sent me. Every plan. Every twist. I looked at it. Sarah crossed her arms. She's been playing both sides, Daniel. Manipulating us both. She wanted to burn everything down so she could be the only one left standing. Olivia stood up. That's not true. Sarah laughed bitterly. You begged me to bring Daniel to that restaurant. You picked it. You timed it. You wanted him to see us together. I looked at Olivia. Her silence said everything. So it was a setup, I whispered. I'm sorry, Olivia said. Quiet. Defeated. I didn't know it would go this far. I didn't mean for it to become real. You watched me break, I said. You stood there smiling while my life fell apart. And now what? What are you hoping for? That I forgive you because you caught feelings? The diner had gone quiet. A few other patrons were pretending not to eavesdrop, but their eyes kept flicking our way. Olivia sat back down. Sarah was still standing. This wasn't about love, Sarah said. This was about control. No, Olivia whispered. It was about loneliness. You always had everything. I wanted one thing. Just one thing you didn't get to ruin. And that thing was me? I asked. She looked up at me. Yes. The word hit harder than any slap. Sarah grabbed her coat. You deserve each other. She spat. Hope it was worth it. She left. The bell over the diner door jingled behind her like a gunshot. I stayed there. Frozen. Olivia sat across from me, her hands trembling. I'm not proud of it, she said. But I didn't lie when I said I cared about you. I still do. I leaned back. You could have been honest. At any point. But you made me a pawn. I was never a person to you. Just a way to hurt her. She reached out, and I pulled my hand back. No, I said. Not now. Maybe not ever. She didn't try again. Just nodded. We paid separately. She left first. I stayed behind, sipping lukewarm coffee, staring out the window as the sun began to rise. The truth? I felt gutted. But not just by them. By myself. I let it happen. I ignored signs. I laughed at warnings. I believed that love, once established, couldn't rot. But it did. And it had. Quietly, behind my back, then all at once in front of my face. That night I went home. Sat in silence for hours. No music. No TV. Just stillness. Eventually I packed a bag. Not because I was running, but because I needed distance. Time. I didn't know if I'd come back. I didn't know if I'd ever want to see either of them again. But I did know one thing. I was done being someone else's lesson. From now on, I'd write my own. And wherever I go next, I'll walk in with both eyes open. I'm not okay yet. Maybe I won't be for a while. But I'm not broken either. Not anymore.